It's Friday afternoon. It's about 15 minutes after 4 o'clock. And for this time of the year, that can only mean one thing, and that is we are going camping tonight on the Appalachian Trail. Let's go. So we're just about to our spot. I swung through the town nearby of Duncannon. We're in Pennsylvania. The Appalachian Trail actually goes right through this town. There's a little hiking store there that I drive past pretty often and I've never got to stop in. It's called Kind of Outdoorsy. So I stopped in there to pick up a meal, a freeze-dried meal for my buddy, since he's going to be meeting me at our campsite and wasn't going to get a chance to get anything on his way after he got off work. So I picked him up a meal and I picked myself up a little cup and bought a map and supported the nice little local store. If you're ever on the Appalachian Trail, headed through Duncannon, check it out. It's just a little store, but very nice people in there. So we're about a minute and a half away from our campsite here, well, our parking area, and then we're going to head up the mountain to our campsite. So when we get back on the trail, I'll check back in. Well, I just got up to our camping spot for tonight. This is a spot that we passed about a month ago on our way up to the top of the mountain. Looked pretty cool. It wasn't a very far hike. I wouldn't even call it a hike at all. It was more of a walk. It was about 15-minute walk. About 300 feet of elevation. Nothing too bad. Have my new pack here. My new summertime pack. First time hauling any sort of a load with it. Got it all set up here. This is the Kelty Coyote 65. I typically have a Osprey Kestrel 68, but that's 6,800 cubic inches, not liters. So this is 65 liters. I believe 6,800 cubic inches is roughly 111 liters. You can look that up, check me. But this pack, I'm actually really surprised because I wanted to see if I could fit everything that I fit in my Osprey pack into this 65 liter pack, and I was amazed that I could. And honestly, it's almost a little bit more organized. This pack has the big pockets on the side right here. I was able to get a bunch of stuff in there and my tripod. Shoulder straps aren't quite as nice as the Osprey, but overall it's a pretty comfortable pack. So we're gonna find some spots here to hang hammocks later. My buddies are coming up. It's a cool spot. We got nice and flat. Got this one concerning big old dead oak tree right here. Appalachian Trail is back there about 40-50 yards. A couple fire pits in here. Nice and flat, nice soft ground. Used to camping in the rocks here in Pennsylvania, so it'd be nice to have some soft ground to stake my tarp stakes into. Got trashy people leaving their trash behind. Don't be one of those people. Take your stuff out with you. There's no reason for that. Got this is a pretty big fire pit. And over here, right here, you have an old stone foundation. And if you're familiar with this spot, I'm not going to give away my spot. If you're familiar with this area, you'll know the spot if you've hiked this portion of the Appalachian Trail. Unfortunately, we're right above the highway, so there's going to be some background noise, but here's the view that we have you can figure this spot out if it's if you're familiar with this area. But from what I understand and read in a trail book that I have, up here on this flat there used to be an old farm, and if you head down the trail another little bit, there's actually an old foundation, a stone foundation from what I assume to be a barn or a house or something like that. It's pretty cool, very old. But yeah, we're gonna get tripod out, get everything set up, and then we will finally, I get to make a video on my new, what is it, Hennessy Survivorman hammock. So yeah, we're gonna get that all out, get everything set up, and start recording and talking about that. So be back soon. So here we are, got the hammock all set up. Super excited to finally be able to talk about this thing. I got it about a month and a half ago. This is the Hennessy Survivorman 4-season hammock. This is going to be the third time I've used it. So far, as you just saw, it is incredibly easy to set up. Probably the easiest thing to set up that I have as far as camping gear. The snake skins, if you take the time to roll this thing up with the tarp, the snake skins make it so easy to set it up. All I had to do, I don't have the tarp taut right now, just for the sake of showing the inside of this, because there's not a ton of videos on this thing. So I have the bug net pulled back and the tarp pulled back, but so far this thing is just ridiculously easy to set up. The one thing I have noticed is that I have to hang my straps just about as high as what I can reach. I don't know if it's because of the ridge line, the way the hammock hangs off of the ridge line below it, but I've noticed if I hang it at the typical height that I would hang like my ENO, my butt is on the ground. So I have to hang this probably about 2.5, 3 feet higher than what I typically would hang my ENO. Bug in there already. But yeah, here's a look at it. Got your ridge line here. It's got this cord to hold your mesh back when you're in it. Got some, I think people call these mitten gloves or mitten hooks. I use it to hang my Goal Zero lantern. It has this awesome storage pouch, which is great because you're not sleeping on your phone and waking up on top of it constantly throughout the night, or your flashlight or whatever it is that you take into your sleep space with you. Super wide. Comes with this heat reflective pad right here. And I've used this thing, the first night I used it, it got into the mid-30s. And I had taken my mother camping with me that night, and I typically use a Hyke and Byke 0 degree Antero sleeping bag, hammock sleeping bag. It slips over top, and it's like a top quilt and a bottom quilt all together. We got dumped on with rain that night, all through our setting up in the evening. Everything was soaked. We were dry underneath, but everything else was soaked. So I gave her that bag because I wanted her to be warm and comfortable. All I had with me was my one Tigress, I think it's a Shield Cradle Pro underquilt. That was my first time setting this thing up and trying to put an underquilt on it, and I quickly found out that that underquilt will not fit in its current configuration on this hammock. So all I had was that to use as a blanket. And that night, that's what I did. I used it as a blanket. I wrapped up as best I could. I knew it was going to be chilly. I did wrap my lightweight puffy jacket around my feet, but that was about it. So with the combination of that and this heat reflecting pad, as well as the underquilt as a blanket, I was completely comfortable, and it was in the mid-30s at night. So for this type of weather, it's April 22nd right now. It's about 75 degrees today. I went out and I got, well, I didn't go anywhere. I got on Amazon and I was looking at packable Puffy blankets. And I can't remember the brand that everybody recommends on there, but I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I didn't want to go with that brand. So I ended up getting this Hound, I forget what the name is, this Puffy blanket. And last time we were out, I was able to use this, and we camped by the creek. It wasn't quite as cold, but it was still pretty chilly. And the combination of this with the heat reflective pad was excellent. It does have the bug net. It is not removable, which is, I don't really mind, because I like that sense of something over top of me. I'm not much of a tent camper, but I do like the enclosed factor of it. And I do believe that even though this is super fine mesh, I think it still reflects some heat. But here's all zipped up. Tons of room. This is an asymmetric cut hammock, and this is my first one of that type. And I will say, after sleeping in it now, this is probably going to be the new way for me. Being able to sleep comfortably on an angle like that without having to fight the hammock while you're in it to lay at that angle was so comfortable. You can truly lay flat in this setup. Lay on your side, lay on your stomach if you want, anything. If you get it hung the right way, you can lay just about any position that you'd want to hang. It's got the tarp. Survivorman comes with this tarp. Huge tarp. I love it. I don't have it tight right now. Comes with Prusik knots on both ends, clips. I have it set up. The Hennessy hammocks use a different suspension system than most do, but I pretty much rigged it up to be like my other ones. They come with a huge amount of rope for hanging, but basically I just tied a knot and put a carabiner through it, and I use my regular E&O straps just because they're super convenient. More convenient than the way that Hennessy wants you to, with their lashing system, which I've not tried personally, but I've watched a lot of videos, and it's just not something that I really feel like dealing with. This is what I'm used to. It's comfortable, it's easy, so I just stick with this for now. If you like knots, the lashing would probably be for you. But yeah, I'm gonna go back, put the camera back, and I'm going to pull the tarp tight, and you'll be able to see how it looks like that. Huge. I don't remember the exact dimensions of this tarp, but it's pretty big. So here's what I was saying about how I rigged up my line. So this would be the line that it comes with, that they want you to lash to the tree with their, I forget what they call their straps. But basically all I did is tie a knot in the end, made a loop, put a carabiner through it. I tied it just beyond where I know I need to run my Prusik knots to get my tarp nice and tight. So I tied it just beyond that, and that seems to work. Works pretty well. Haven't had any issues with it so far whatsoever. And then when I'm done getting it all set up, I just take this, slide my snake skins back just over the edge a little in case there's any moisture, and then I just pick these up and I shove them up in there. I do like to leave a little end hangout just for a low point, for if water builds up in the night, that it can drip off of that before it wants to run down the rest of this stuff. But I have the same setup on the other side, and it works pretty good. Let's take a look at the hammock and the shelter here. Got my kind of a little bit of a porch going on here. Sun's still pretty high. We got about 2.5 hours till it starts to get dark. But yeah, got this nicely positioned tree right here. Tied myself up. Got the tarp all set up. Just hit my head on the line. But yeah, you can see this tarp, very large. Got my snake skins all positioned how I want them. Not expecting any weather tonight, but you know, just in case. Get some dew. We are right beside the Susquehanna River. Got my little chair here that I'm going to set up. This is a cool little thing that I got. I got one for both Cody, that's my buddy that I do a lot of camping with. I got one for him and one for us. It was funny, we were talking about gear storage the one time we were out, and I swear the internet hears what you talk about, because like 3 days later on Amazon this little thing popped up, and this is a one wind, I forget what they call this, it's a gear sling. It says that you can sit in it and make it as a chair. I tried to get it around this tree, but I didn't really try very hard, so I just put my backpack in it for now. But that's what it's intended for. You can hang it underneath your hammock. I've heard people in reviews say that a small dog could sleep in here, although a larger dog with some bigger claws, I would recommend putting a blanket or a small dog bed or something in there. I don't know that I'd want their claws in this. It's not super thin, but it's pretty thin. I don't know how their claws would do though. But for what it's intended, it's also supposedly you can use it as a chair. Hang it up here, tie the other end low, and then you can kind of sit in it. I've seen a video of a guy laying in his, which he was a bigger guy than what I am. I'm about 200 pounds, so if I get in this thing and nothing happens, then most people probably would be pretty good to sit in this thing as a chair if they took it out in the woods with them. It packs up into itself like most hammocks do. It's a perfect, very small, very compactable. You could put it in your pocket if you wanted to when it's all rolled up. Comes with these, I forget what these things are called. What I understand, they use them for climbing, but very easy to set things up with them. And that's what this One Wind Outdoors little gear hammock comes with. Pretty cool. We're gonna get the last little bit of camp set up, wait for Cody to get here, and then we're gonna make some food, maybe get a couple little videos of him setting his setup up and see if he wants to say something about his gear. We both have we have a good selection of gear. We have a selection of very expensive gear, like high-end stuff. We have a good bit of stuff that I would call mid-range, and then we both have some stuff that's on the more, I don't want to say cheap as in quality, but cheap as in really affordable gear that someone just getting into this might like. So it's going to be cool to be able to go over his gear and my gear, compare. He uses a little bit less expensive hammock setup, but he loves it. It's great. I use this Hennessy here that I just got, and before that I had my E&O. The E&Os aren't super expensive, but it's just two different spectrums of the gear. They both do what we need them to do. It's just, what do you want to spend the money on? But yeah, see if we can get some words from him about his stuff when he gets here on his setup. We'll compare the two. Got a ton. This is a perfect hammock camping spot. Perfect flat ground up on this flat here on the ridge, and then we got tons and tons of perfectly sized hammock trees. The only tree we got to worry about, we're away from it, so it's gonna be a fun time. A little quick thing, another little modification that I did to this, as I was talking about what I did to my rope to hang it from the tree. Another little thing that I did, that the Hennessy comes with this gigantic tarp, but it does not come with tent stakes. So I solved that easily. I got on Amazon, did a lot of reviews, a lot of stuff that I buy, even the stuff that might not be super expensive. My buddy's the same way. We both look at reviews, and all the reviews, multiple videos, anything we can find before we buy something. And I found some pretty good reviews on these Wise Owl tent stakes, and I love them so far. I think it came with 12 of them, and they might have been $14 or $15. It's a triangular shaped stake, aluminum. I think they're 9 inches. But the thing that I did here, because they don't come with stakes, and it comes with this nice reflective cord, but that's it. So I took one of these. I don't know what this is called. It's a Night Eyes. I bought the little Night Eyes pack. This tarp has 4 tie outs. So I bought this Guy Line Night Eyes pack, and I'm sure I could have found these somewhere by themselves, but I could I kept the cord for making Persic knots or whatever I need for stuff. But what I really wanted was these little things right here, and that made my stake tying very, very easy. I'm not great with knots. I'm trying to learn some more knots, like the common hammock camping knots. But for now, these things are great. I can very easily take this loose, slide this up and down where I need it, pull it tight, tension it, whatever I need. It's got these burrs in here. It's not coming loose. They also make various sizes of these, both out of this plastic and out of aluminum. I have a large one on my pack, actually, that I use for whatever I need, but this is the large version of it. Same thing. But yeah, it's just a little mod that I did to the Hennessy tarp lines, to my guy out lines. So everybody's here now. We got a whole little hammock village going up.
Oh man, I'm not excited about this tarp.
Cody's having tarp troubles. Gonna make a whole.
You didn't have to be filming while I was complaining.
We can make a whole separate channel of you trying to put up your tarp. Wyatt's got his little. Is this a one Tigress underquilt?
Yeah. Or it might be Free Army.
Free Soldier?
Yeah. Hunter, what underquilt is this?
Oh no, here, right here. It's one Tigress.
I suck at getting it to be snug though.
You don't want it snug. Remember?
Cody was just laughing at me because it was hanging a little low.
I mean,
that looks a little decent, but that might be a little tight when I sit.
Well, remember what we talked about last weekend?
Yeah, I remember our talk.
We had a talk about underquilts.
No, stretch it out.
I'm gonna make you really quick a little Persic knot,
Yeah.
and then you'll be able to pull it tight like this, and it'll stay. And it takes like 2 seconds. I'll show you how to do it. So we're gonna make some Persic knots for Hunter's Ridgeline real quick. Here's another really quick little thing that we did for Cody's Ridgeline. All he did was get a piece of cord here, and this thing you can set it up in like 5 minutes. 2 of these little Night Eyes clips. I forget what they're called, but you just hook it on there and then pull it through there. Pull your Ridgeline tight all the way across. Do the same thing on the other side, and then 2 little Persic knots here with a Night Eyes S clip, S carabiner, whatever they're called, attached to the tarp, and then she's nice and tight. And that's literally, I don't know, I think those 2 clips were $12 and together, and I think these were like, do you remember how much these cost?
What?
Do you remember how much these little S clips cost?
They were like $5.
Yeah, so like
$3 or $4.
So like $3 or $4 a piece for these, and I think those were 5 or 6. And then whatever you have a length of paracord for, and then some small cord for your Persic knots, and you can have like a really nice $25-ish, $20 Ridgeline that is extremely packable and small, and sets up in like 2 minutes. Once you get the hang of these things, it's very simple. Cool little hammock mod.
Or just a knot. Oh, just a little knot. Like,
About to make some dinner here. We got Patagonia salmon provisions. Oh! Whoa!
I knew you should have cracked it, bro. Bro, I'm covered in food right now.
Oh, you got. I got that all.
Dumpling, bro.
Dude, I told you. How many times?
It's really funny. restarting the dinner thing now because
Dude, I was leaning up, just like getting my spoon
explosion.
hot. The kid was like in the zone.
So we got our water.
Look, it completely directed right towards me.
Cody got covered in a can of some kind of
Is
Campbell's
that
soup.
on the bottom of your pants? Is that from the food? Or that
We
just
got
stains?
salmon provisions,
Jeez.
Peak Refuel beef pasta marinara. We got some scotch.
I think.
It's gonna be Glenfiddich, just the regular Glenfiddich. A good go-to. Got my new little carabiner camping cup here. Got our nice little fire, so we're gonna make dinner and enjoy the fire for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and they completely popped off.
And we'll check back in the morning at breakfast. Good morning, everyone. I just got back to the truck. When I woke up this morning, I woke up and I pulled out my phone, and I usually check the weather right away, and it said that rain was starting in 15 minutes. So I really quickly jumped out of my hammock and started putting everything away as fast as I could. I got drizzled on a little bit, but it didn't really start raining until I just got back to the truck here. It's raining pretty good on the river behind me. Luckily, I'm parked under the bridge right now, so I could put my stuff away and didn't get it any more soaked. But yeah, it was a great trip. That was a nice spot. We had been past that spot before, but we've never camped at it. And we'll definitely be camping there again. That was a really nice spot. Lots of room for hammocks and tents, and you could have quite a bit of people up in that spot comfortably. Really close to the highway, but it's just far enough away that the sound isn't annoying. It's not a hard walk at all, but we'll definitely be back. I'm really excited I got to do this little trip this weekend. This is, I think, 3 or 4 weeks in a row now that I've been able to get out on Friday night and camp somewhere, and I'm really thankful for that. So I'm going to go get some breakfast because I'm pretty hungry. It's about 10:30 in the morning right now. I just got down. So it's been a great trip. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There'll definitely be more to come. I'd like to go over everybody's gear a little bit more because, like I said, we all have a pretty broad selection of gear, ranging from pretty expensive to pretty affordable. So it should be a good combination with the four of us. We have some cool stuff, and I'm excited to share it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know what you want to see in the comments, any sort of gear, any destination ideas, let me know. Thanks for watching.